Um, and so really it's just a friendly conversation that we'll have today. And we'll go ahead and start right now. I'll say, hi everybody. I'm Robert Christopher Smith. I'm basically coming to you today live from my studio, also known as my apartment. And I'm talking to a friend and collaborator named James Neal of Bez Studios. And James, would you mind introducing yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about when I first met you, what were you already known for in the world of animation? What how long have you been doing the job, and what were you most known for?
Well, let's see. I've been doing this going back well into the last century. I think I actually got started in the 80s, maybe mid 80s or so. But a lot of the things that I've done animation wise, you'll find in European areas. Um, did a great feature film based on one of their most popular comic books in Warsaw. I'm not really sure what to compare it with here. It's kind of on the level of our Charlie Brown or something. However, not at all like that. Um, I had actually just moved there, and my friends all went nuts about this because they grew up with them. I didn't know what this was. But here I do a lot of visual effects work. Because of my animation background, that comes real easily to me, and I have a lot of fun with it. Um, uh, Things like this film was a little bit of both. Kind of motion graphics, stop motion animation, stop action. And we just had some real quick scenes in there,
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
didn't really get to open it up. Maybe
right.
we'll do a feature on, an animated feature with them in the future. So we look forward to that. Um, let's see. Um, most well, uh, One of the popular animated things I did was a documentary on JFK, and that was actually all 3D animation, where we created Dealey Plaza right down to the square inch, all the buildings and everything.
Wow.
Um, a lot of the medical stuff and kind of diagrams of what happened to Kennedy that you can't really show with live action. Um, there was some real interesting bits in that one, and it's still floating around on a lot of these streaming services. I'd have to look to tell you, but uh, and most recently, I mean, one of the things I've always liked doing is music videos because they're short and you can just go crazy. There aren't necessarily any rules, so you end up doing a lot of fun stuff, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and in fact, that's what I've done most recently. I think I've just finished the second or third one, music video this year. And That was a nice bluesy one. It's kind of fun. Um, and yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
Did I see when we were first meeting? Did I see also some clips you did of some comedians,
Well, let's see. Um,
or was it just the music videos that I remember?
I've done stuff, some kids stuff actually with Lily Tomlin.
Wow.
I think she fits into comedian
Yeah.
category. That was the Stories Online program through the Actors Guild. Um, uh, there may have been, well, no, I think she was the only comedian in that group. What was it that you were thinking of?
I don't know. I thought I'd seen it was almost like some like line work of
Mhm.
a comedian on stage, or I thought it was a comedian, but perhaps I'm transforming it in my mind. It could have been a musician, like a concert. but it was like line work, using the underlying perhaps video as a source.
There was there's actually a few videos that I've done, music videos that are kind of black and white,
Right, right. This is
just
what I'm
line
thinking. Yeah.
drawings. Um, uh, and that actually goes all the way back to when I was in school. I had done a film that did real well in the festivals. And this is again is over in Europe. Um, but since then, people that would see it, musicians, bands, often want a music video done like that. So I've
Okay.
done two or three. There's a Hendrix one. The one
That's,
you're
dude, I think that's the one. I think the Hendrix.
ah,
No, I think
ah,
that's it.
okay.
Yeah.
It's a mix between, well, it's actually traditional hand drawn animation,
Right.
some rotoscoping, and then, a lot of stuff you can throw in. If you're working with rotoscope and animation, I should say, rotoscoping is very different than, for example, what After Effects calls
Right.
rotoscoping.
Agreed.
This goes back to, gosh, well, the early days of animation, but the more well-known ones would probably be something like Sleeping Beauty
Hmm.
or Cinderella from
Hmm.
Disney. Those main characters were often rotoscoped, but
That 3D feel of animation before the 3D style of animation.
well, yes, and they were also using what's called a multi-plane camera,
Okay.
and theirs at Disney is very impressive. It takes up, if I remember, like 3 or 5 floors of a building.
Wow. Wow.
And yeah, you've got the camera can move all the way down and all the way out, and you've got the different layers. So it is actually 3D. Technically, it's called 2D animation,
Yeah.
traditional animation, but that's what that comes from. The Hendrix one. There's a few of them. The one that I think you might be thinking of is from a band called Nahader
Okay.
out of New York. And it's there was a regular short version of the song, but there was also the theatrical release, and that starts out with the singer walking in from the distance up to the microphone, and then you know the wackiness begins. But
I
uh,
gotcha.
it's like a stage kind of a
Yeah,
setup.
and I think what I had done was seen that, and then I have a few friends who do stand up, and I started thinking, wow, this might be a good fit. You know,
It would be. It could be lots of fun because you can actually kind of just go crazy with it. The
yeah,
person doesn't have to just keep standing there.
right. Because once the animator takes over, it can be from different performances even, and you can take them off the stage and
And put them anywhere or, have them do anything. The head opens up into a new stage. It
yeah,
doesn't matter. It's
yeah.
lots of fun. It's
So we'll get to this because I know at some point I do. Well, I want to find a way for us to get funding and work together. But do you remember how we actually connected?
it was an online post that I
I think,
saw.
yeah.
And
Was
I
it maybe
contacted you.
Craigslist? Was it?
Probably so.
I know I put a few ads out for animators, and I just did. I'd never shopped for an animator before. I'd never
Mm,
cast for an
mm,
animator,
mm.
and so I had put it out a few sources, and then I remember getting some responses, and some of them were pretty quality and stuff like that. But there was just something in both the way that you wrote back to me, and also just when I started looking at your material, uh, that you were my first choice, and so I was glad that we were able to connect.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
I remember when I talked to you the first time, there was a little bit of skepticism in your voice, like as if I was insane, which is true, which is, and you were like, because I remember you going, like, you want me to what?
I have to say, I don't remember the conversations. It's been quite a while.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
I've been at least two
two,
years,
three
maybe
years
three.
ago. Yeah, probably 3 years ago.
Yeah,
And that point in my life is all a blur right now. So don't
sure.
ask me anything
No, no,
specific.
no. I just remembered that when we were talking again, because again, we were such a low budget feature. And
Mm-hmm.
when we first started talking, you were like, there was all these different things we can do, and I was like, for this one right now, I just need to get like where the pig pops up on the screen and says, like he's gonna
I'm
start telling the
Hamson.
story, and then we do a record scratch and he disappears.
Mm.
And then I said, also he'll be a transition, and he'll push the scene off of the
That I
screen.
like. That's fun stuff. I like doing that mixed animation and live
Yeah.
action. That's
Yeah,
fun.
it worked so well in the final edit. That's what I wanted to ask you is if you remember in October last year when I invited you out for the premiere
Mhm.
at the Regal in North Hollywood, and I had a blast, by the way,
That was great. Yeah, it was
watching
a
it with
very
all of
nice
you guys.
evening. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But when Hamson pushes that scene off of the screen, it's at such a good moment in the movie because everything's been building up towards the point where, spoiler, where things start to go crazy, where we
Mm.
start to wonder about Rex and stuff like that. So that Twister game ends, Mazzy just got killed, and now Hamson is our transition. It's just such a beautiful moment. I know it's just me because I'm such a proud papa,
Oh,
but that moment in the movie is only there because of the fact that you and I got to work together.
great,
And I
great.
wish that I got you to do more because I
I
knew while we were
would
talking, I
love
was
to have
asking you
really
to
laid
do
into
less
that. And
than you're
yeah,
able to
yeah.
do, you know?
There's so much we could do with just as a starting point, the things we did there.
Right.
Um, and I was, I really enjoyed it. One, being able to see my work
Yeah.
that size, I
Yeah.
really enjoy. The other thing, I didn't really know what to expect from the film
This
or
is what you told
where
me.
exactly those parts were going to go in or how they'd work. I
Yeah.
knew what was going on when I was putting that
Yeah.
shot together, but
You were like, with one more back and forth, we really could have tightened that up, you know?
well, I didn't really know what the scene before or
Yeah.
after was
Right.
actually going to look like. I knew what the pig, was supposed to be doing there,
Yeah.
and we had him push it,
Yeah.
but I didn't know quite what it would look like. And normally I'll edit those things, composite the
Sure.
things myself, but in this case, I sent you off the animation, and however much time went by between then and when I saw it in the theater, a million feet tall. That was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It really came out nicely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had such a blast. And then, like I said, it was cool because your first comment was you came up to me after you're like, I liked it, but man, you know what? Had we been able to go back and forth, like
Uh,
you're like, once I understood exactly what you were doing, we would have, and I was like,
um,
no, that's part of it. I was like, we got the kind of rough feel because the movie itself was so low budget that everything kind of gelled.
it didn't look low budget, and the
Thank you.
acting was
Thank you.
real nice. The camera work was real nice, and
Jessica Gallant, man. Jessica Gallant is a top level. What I like to do is find top level people like you, people like Jessica, who can come to work for me, with me, and we make a good team. And I want you guys to get paid and stuff. It's just that sometimes I don't put you guys on as big of jobs.
mm, mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, it was a lot better than what I had expected.
Yeah, I think a lot of people
Came
felt
out
that way.
really nicely. Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, Jessica also walked up to me afterwards and she was like, she knew exactly what I spent, and she was like, it looks like at least 20 times that amount.
Ah,
Yeah.
well, next time let's spend a little more time on the animation and really up the game. Yeah.
It's weird, man, because right now, with AI being such a thing, I have a very strong desire to actually do something very organic and animated.
Real. Uh,
Real, exactly.
AI is a great tool if it's used that way. It's really amazing and
Right.
really helpful.
But it doesn't
But
replace James Neal.
um,
And right now, there's too many people that feel like my job, your job,
mhm,
actors' jobs,
mhm.
everything is supposedly so effing replaceable right now, and I don't like it.
But it
So,
really isn't. It
no,
really
exactly.
isn't.
That's exactly what I want to prove.
Okay. I mean, you can get some nice looking images, even moving on screen, but
I want to do something completely organic, some real animation,
Ah, great. Yeah.
and work with somebody like you who really knows and could even like again the stuff that I don't know, saying we could go back and forth like you were saying, like do some simple line stuff here to some more rotoscope type stuff here.
Hmm.
We can start off with a film under base or whatever to get the lines and then go off from there, or
Hmm. Uh-huh.
really kind of collaborate on
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
And I think I mentioned it to you before, but my idea, because I grew up, I'm 57 years old, and I grew up with seeing like heavy metal,
Oh yeah.
and to do like one feature length story that kind of looped around through enough weirdness that we could almost do it like different stories,
Mm,
different
mm.
styles of animation.
Anthology. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
That would
uh,
be to me, that would be ultimate. Even if it was only an hour to, even if it's only an hour long. But if
mhm.
we could get it up to 80 or 90 minutes, especially,
Yeah. All it takes is a good idea and a
then the
few minutes
funding.
to sit there and draw about 1 million pictures and
And so once you get a job like that, if we were to pursue something like that, what is it on your side? Do you all of a sudden become as the director of animation, you do some of the drawing and then you have to bring in other people to work on it? How does
it
that end up happening?
depends on what we've got for time and budget. Those are the two things that will go into. I mean, um, think about how long it takes you to draw a picture,
Right. That's my question. Yeah.
and then draw 29 more of them, and you've got 1 second of screen time. They do all need to work together perfectly, like gears in a
Yeah.
fine Swiss watch. But
Yeah.
that aside, get working on the second. Uh, Having said that,
Like, does the lead animator establish like a template, a style, and
that would be the way it breaks down in a large studio, for example, an animation studio, Disney or somebody like that. You've got the main animator, the key animator, who draws, let's say, every 15th or 20th. It depends on the action.
I got
Every
you.
15th or 20th frame.
The
And
most
then you've got to,
critical, establishing critical shots and motion shots.
it's pretty much the whole thing, but it's a little stiff
Gotcha.
yet.
Gotcha.
There's some gaps between the images. It's
Yeah.
almost like watching something in slow motion, how
Gotcha.
it kind of clicks, clicks, clicks.
Sure.
But then you've got a breakdown artist that comes in, and you've got to pay attention to things like if this hand is moving, there's
Right.
an arc there.
Yeah.
The breakdown artist will come in and put in those kind of main keys in between what the main animator has already done. Then you've got the in-betweeners, and that's the person that comes in and fills in all of those frames exactly how they're supposed to be. The main animator does this and this. The breakdown guy comes in and puts this in, or
Yeah.
girl. Then the in-betweener comes in and does, the frames in
Gotcha.
between those.
Gotcha.
It all needs to work perfectly, or else you have garbage on the screen. So, and I'm sure we've all seen plenty of garbage animation.
Yeah.
Uh, and it'll come down to kind of those three steps. Storyboarding is real important. In fact, what you're often seeing on screen is the storyboarder's vision often. What you're actually seeing every time in good animation is the storyboarder's vision,
Gotcha.
not the director.
Gotcha.
Um, Storyboard in animation is very different than any kind of storyboard you can imagine. The closest thing might be in live action if you're doing a dangerous stunt or choreography, a fight scene.
Mm-hmm.
If they're boarded properly, that's going to be as close to an animation board as you get. But anyway, those four uh, positions
Gotcha.
are really the main ones. Then after that, you've got, of course, ink and paint in the traditional style. Uh, Nowadays, we have modern tools that really speed things up. again, like AI, though, you need to know how to use those. It's not just clicking a
So that you
button.
don't end up with, yeah, letting the sloppy
If
looking computer work.
Yeah, you could click a an effects button or something like that on your keyboard and get something that moves on screen. But I mean,
That's more novice move, right?
uh, it's the kind of stuff you'll see on the web all the
Yeah,
time. You
sure.
know, it's almost, in fact, it really is kind of the same thing as when the 13-year-old girl puts cat ears and a nose on her little Instagram thing while she's
Yeah.
moving
As
around.
easy as a filter almost, yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Building this stuff from scratch, though, there's not much in the film industry that's more interesting than what
Yeah.
goes on behind the scenes there in a good animated feature, or even TV shows and shorts. Um, but I don't know if we've gotten too far away from the question of how many people or what
No,
it would
no, great.
take.
This is what I wanted, man,
Uh,
because I think there's a lot of people out there that are really interested in hearing about the world of animation, what it takes for real animation, especially compared to the world today, where you can press this button and keep on, typing in these different things
yeah,
to make AI do stuff. Uh,
I mean,
what's
it's great.
involved?
Everybody can do it now, but it's not.
What's involved in
It's.
actually producing art? Why it's art?
Uh,
Is the
I
choreography?
would imagine you could come up with some art using AI or these other filters, but I mean, that's going to be far apart and a wide range of garbage in between.
Yeah, and I feel like
That's
we're
why I say.
being
Hmm?
inundated with it.
Oh yeah, and it's. I mean, if you look at postings now, everybody's asking for AI.
Mhm.
For the most part, they don't know what they're asking for or what they're going to end up with. It's possible to do a lot of these things with AI and do something good, but without a foundation in actual, real animation, traditional animation especially, it's going to be hit and miss. It's all luck if you come up with something good. Um, a large amount of people will consume this stuff, but those are the same people that would consume. Well, I don't even want to start with the list, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you there. I understand where you're going. It's just where it's more like junk food. Instead of actually sitting down and taking a moment to cook yourself a meal, you just keep stuffing your face with potato chips and candy and whatever, and not understanding why you never feel full.
and that might be a little polite. That might be, you know, it's something along those lines. Yes.
That brings me back around, like I said, and I don't know exactly what it would take to get something like this off the ground, but it just seems like with where we're at right now, something that was very well produced and very organic in the world of animation could really stand out. It could. Do you think, let me ask you, like, let me flip it back. Do you think there's a market, like, for a
Oh,
truly stellar animated film?
absolutely. In fact, right now I'm doing some breakdowns for character design for 2D animation
Hmm.
based on like 3 months of these people cranking out AI images
Hmm.
of their comic book character
Right,
and little scenarios, like one image
right.
scenarios.
Yeah.
Uh, there's some really impressive stuff there. Uh, I don't know that you could actually get any of what they've been giving me to move on screen.
Right.
Um, but I mean, I've got some nice 2D characters designed for them, and that'll all work real nice. Kind of Saturday morning type
Oh,
animation.
nice.
Um, but like I say, I probably they would send me one or two every day or a couple of days. I've got a file of a couple of hundred images of just, I mean,
Yeah.
there's some nice stuff there, nice shading and composition, that kind of stuff. But uh, I prefer this traditional animation, and
Yeah,
yes, there is a market. There is new things. There are new things coming out. Um, like I was saying, though, we've got modern tools that help move this along.
sure.
For example, something like Bambi. I don't know how many tens of thousands of people, hundreds of
To
thousands,
get
maybe,
all that
worked
fluid
on it.
motion.
7 years they took. Um, I don't recall. At one point, I knew how many frames there were. Um, it was just something insane. But at the same time, uh, one person or a group of 3 or 5 people can do quite a bit. The old rule of thumb was about a month per minute
Wow.
per character.
Hmm.
And then if you've got some kind of backgrounds and props and things like that, you've got to kind of figure your time based with those as well. Um, so one person, that small group, the animator, the breakdown artist, the in-betweeners, they could get one character to do his whole thing, and I'll probably even be in color with the outlines and everything over about a month or so.
Wow.
That's the old days. Now we can do, I mean, I still budget time based on that old rule of thumb, but we end up finishing in, half or a quarter, a third of the
Right.
time.
Now you can use that as a buffer.
Uh, well, plus, you've got to take into account technical issues that pop
Sure.
up,
Yeah.
which are going to be different every time, no matter what, no matter how well you plan. But with this foundation in traditional animation and then a knowledge of the modern tools, you mix and match these things and come up with, what's going to give you the best results. We don't need to waste time on this step
Right.
because we've got a tool that will do that. But we need to spend a little more time here or focus in a little more on that to make it work with this.
Right.
So it's a constant, you're constantly reinventing everything. Or, yeah, that's probably a good word.
I did a little bit of real basic, super basic, as you saw in the movie, animating, like just keyframe animating, moving those comic strips around the screen
Oh,
and
uh-huh.
and stuff like that. And then I recently did a couple things for some friends that were like having a Kickstarter for their comic books and stuff.
Mhm.
And so I did like in Photoshop, I like would remove characters from a comic page
Mhm.
and then make them like jump forward and like make the
All right,
background go
right.
blurry as they came forward and stuff. And
Oh, that's good. Yeah, yeah.
and I had a lot of fun, like
Wow.
doing that. But it made me think again, like you were saying, exactly how much is really involved
Mm, mm.
in.
Well, there are ways to simplify. In fact, what you're talking about will do in what's called 2.5D, not necessarily in Photoshop, but maybe use that to create the images. But then you place those images at different distances from the
Right,
camera, and then when you move the camera, you've got that parallax
right,
effect, which is really cool.
yeah,
I've done a couple of episodes where there really isn't any animation. Maybe a mouth will move a little or an
yeah,
arm will do this. But the visual interest is all created by that camera and the
right,
depth of field and the focus. And
yeah,
that's lots of fun to play with.
yeah.
Uh, you can do an awful lot like that, and it doesn't really cost much of anything,
No,
at
no.
least in comparison with actual animation.
Right, right.
Uh,
It's
so,
for me anyway, as somebody that doesn't do it in a way, it's just a time investment. I sit down and just kind of tinker with it and
mm,
you know
mm,
and
mm,
have fun with it. Uh, I don't want to keep you all night, but I did have another question just about you personally and your goals. Like when
mm.
we talk about possibly working together as an animator and thinking about an audience being out there for an animated feature, are there any genres in specific that call to you? Like is Like, is there
All of them like a choir. They just, it's a constant. How do you mean?
like, is there anything you ever thought, like, I mean, this is gonna sound crazy, but just to show you how left field, like, I would really like to do a gritty Civil War animated film or something like
Okay.
that, where it's something real specific like that?
I mean, sure. Um,
Because people normally think science fiction or horror, and I just wondered,
Comedy.
like, is it gonna be like, would if you were gonna be like, no, I would rather do a romance. Nobody's ever done a really great love story, you know,
Uh, no. Every project, I've always found areas of interest.
something to get your hooks in.
Oh yeah, every single one, regardless of the genre, the age it's directed towards, or um, what I've told you about just a little bit with kind of those key positions. Uh, there is so much going on and so much interesting. For example, I'll do a lot of things in 3D animation,
Mhm.
which has really come a long way since the 90s when I first started playing with this stuff. In those days, pretty much anything you put on screen from a 3D program looked cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
wow, that's computer animation.
Whoa, yeah.
And in fact, when I first went to school, the school was working with computers. There was a painting department and sculpture and everything else. And in the animation department, when I was first meeting people, they would ask, what are you studying? I say animation, and they say, oh, 3D and this, that, and the other. I said, no, real animation.
Ah,
uh, I've grown beyond that now because you can do real animation in 3D and 2D, this 2.5D.
yeah.
Uh, there is so much of interest, overwhelming interest in any little nook and cranny you look into. So bring me a story, show me some characters, and let's go. I mean, regardless, like I say, of the genre, the age it's directed to. I mean, you know, ask me a question, what can we do here or there? And, we'll spend an afternoon coming up with some real fun stuff to do and and then probably getting started on it.
Overall, like for me in my life, like the crime genre calls to me. Like as
Mm,
far as
mm,
like if I could just act in anything I wanted or direct anything I wanted,
mm.
it'd probably be a series of crime stories.
Ah,
But what's interesting is that, like you said, like as an actor, I feel like my job is anytime I get a script, it doesn't matter what I'm passionate about, it's to find a way to make this visually interesting. You know,
mm,
because whether
mhm,
it's animation or acting, at the end of the day, this is a movie. It's on the screen. It's got
mhm.
to be visually interesting or it fails. You know,
And sometimes that might take a little, a couple minutes more to find that, but you always do.
absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And that's
Mhm.
the job. I think that is the job of the actor, the animator, the director. Make
Mhm.
this visually interesting. So I love your answer, is what I'm saying. You know, it's
Oh,
and I just didn't know again if anything really called to you. I think the story I told you about that I want to tell is like I said, it's obviously sci-fi.
mm,
It's basically something I've been talking to another collaborator, a comic book guy,
mm.
about this right now. But it's interestingly because of what's in the theaters right now. It's loosely based on the Odyssey,
Oh, interesting.
but it's
Ah,
galactic. It
uh-huh.
starts on Earth, and
Hmm.
this guy gets taken away into the center of the galaxy, of the
Hmm.
Milky Way,
Hmm.
and through a technology that's he doesn't understand. So they move within a matter of hours. They're at the center of the galaxy, and then
Uh-huh.
his whole the whole rest of the story is him fighting to get back to Earth.
Mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm.
so very much like the Odyssey, and I took and borrowed little things from the Odyssey and stuck them in
Oh,
there.
that's great.
But
That's
I
great.
merged it. You'll like this again with our generational relation. Is I merged it with some concepts and names from Andy Griffith.
Oh, cool. Can we talk about any?
But anyway, so now for my statement. Sorry, guys, that's a conversation that James and I are keeping private between us. If you want to learn more, follow me on Patreon and support the story Earthbound and help us make this a reality. Who knows? Like we just said, this is how these projects happen. Maybe it'll happen.
Mm.
James,
And you got
thanks.
to get over there to see what he was saying. I couldn't believe he was saying that.
Uh, Thank you again, man, for being my collaborator on this because Hamson, as silly as the character is, a comic strip character, as crudely drawn as he is, as the whole thing about the character, it's such a linchpin of this world that we created.
Mm,
His creator is a is an artist and
mm,
is going through his own like existential crisis where his character he made a lot of money but his character got taken away from him
mm,
and things like that. And so it's the story of Spread, Pigs to Slaughter, for me, it deals with like horror and terror on a lot of different levels. Like there's political stuff in there, there's cult stuff in there, but then there's this idea of creators like you and I losing control of our creations, you know?
mm, mm.
And a big part of this whole story is built around that. So believe it or not, with the crude style of animation and everything that I was asking you to do and what we ended up doing in the movie, it was really, it gelled and it was really, I feel like it was very successful for what I was trying to accomplish. And I appreciate it.
Yeah, it came out real nicely. Yeah, yeah. When is the sequel?
Great question. Great question. See. All right, you guys keep pushing us, and we'll make the sequel. And in the sequel, I promise more animation and
Awesome.
more thought out animation where James and I are talking in advance instead of just giving him comic strip characters and having him say, "What the hell do you want me to do?" You know, we
Right.
can actually work from the
And
beginning
Hamson
together.
again. Yeah, that
Uh,
sounds good.
I really do look forward to working with you again, I look forward to hearing from you anytime. So
Mm,
please reach out, stay in touch,
okay.
and anytime I've got a showing or something here locally of the film or anything related, I'll get in touch. I'll get a hold of you.
Oh, great.
Uh, but like I said, let's keep the conversation going about our science fiction epic.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's some real interesting things in there that you were just mentioning here. And I've already got ideas swirling. So before those evaporate, get back with me
Oh
and
well,
we'll talk more.
I will. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with me. All the fans of the movie appreciate it. People who are learning about independent film, people who are wanting to learn about animation, they all appreciate it. So your time here, man, it was valuable today, and I really appreciate it.
Great. Lots of fun. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, man. Let me
Mhm.
stop recording, and then we'll officially